Hey YouTube, welcome back to Assembly Required. Alright, so it wasn't actually a barn find. We knew it was in the barn the whole time, but it was actually in a barn, so that counts for something, right? A couple months ago, my brother decided to get one of my dad's old cars out, see if he could get it going. So here's some video footage of us getting it out, and hang out to the end to see what our plans are for it. Alright, we got it unloaded. It fought us a little bit, but she's been sitting for a while, so the brakes are locked up. We had to pull it off just as much as we had to pull it on. The brakes are they're pretty sticky. The wheels will, tires will roll, but they're stuck pretty hard. So now it's time to figure out what this is. It's super rare. Those of you that know classic or antique cars, some of you might guess it's a Jaguar SS100. That would be close, but it's wrong. We'll go around here, see if I can give you a few clues. So we'll look in the engine, look at the engine. So that is a Ford 250 straight six from the late 60s, early 70s there. So that may bring some of you to say, oh, it's a kit car. Well, it's not a kit car. This was assembled in a factory of sorts. Look at the interior here. So that's a Ford top loader 4-speed. Look at some of the gauges and what have you. So this is called a Squire SS100, and it was built, modeled after, made to look like 1937 Jaguar SS100, but this is not a kit car. So this was made by a company in Italy called Intermeccanica, and there were only 50 of these cars ever produced. There's a whole story of it, and I may get into it sometime, but basically there was a radio personality, a guy from Philadelphia, that was enamored by the Jaguar SS100, and he wanted to, for whatever reason, decided he wanted to build a car that would match with a modern drivetrain. So he set about, got a hold of some engineers, and ended up putting together a plan to build this. So long story short, they found a company in Italy. They sent over 100 Ford drivetrains, modern drivetrains of the time, which this would have been the late 60s or into the early 70s, I guess. So they've all got 250 straight six Fords, and then they came with either a manual top loader 4-speed or a C4 automatic transmission. They've got a 9-inch rear end, and this car belongs to my dad. He bought it in, I believe, the late 70s, early 80s sometime, and he thought it was just a cool car. You know, he found it, and it was kind of roadster type car. Had a modern drivetrain in it for the time, so he bought it as just something to drive and play with. It wasn't until later, about the time he got access to the internet, that we found out that there were only ever 50 of these cars made. And by looking online, we found some clubs and people that own them, and excuse me, it looks like they know of the whereabouts of about 44 of these cars, and this one, we believe, would be number 45 known to exist yet. This has been, Dad drove it in his, would have been his probably 30s, I guess. Had some fun with it and ended up breaking a leaf spring on this side. So basically he parked it and decided that he would look for leaf springs, you know, kind of keep an eye out in junkyards or what have you. That never kind of came about. Finally he decided that he wanted to get this car going at some point, so he found a spring company in St. Louis, Missouri, and took them the spring off of the other side and had them make another pair for it for the back. So we've got those. That needs to go on here. But as you can see by the license plate, this was last registered in 1983. So it's been sitting for 40 years. I actually had planned to get this car out and take it to my senior prom when I was in high school. We won't worry about how long ago that was. But whenever we got to looking at it, we're going to get it going. Ended up finding out that the engine was locked up from sitting. This has been in the shed the whole time, but we're assuming from condensation from the concrete and everything that it got moisture in it and locked it. So Dad ended up finding just an industrial power unit engine to replace it with. And so what we're doing, we brought this over to my brother's. He's going to take it on as a project, and both of us are getting married this year, so we're going to try and get it going to be a getaway car for our weddings. So we're gonna, I think the plan is we're gonna get everything operational, get the springs put in, go through the brakes and everything, try to get this other engine running and drop it in there, and then we're gonna save this original engine and probably rebuild it sometime. At some point Dad would like to put it back original, but for the moment we're not going to go through that whole process. We're just gonna drop this other engine in and see if we can use it. So I'll probably make a few updates on the channel on this as we go. Like I said, it's at my brother's house, so he's going to be doing most of the work. I'll probably come and help him occasionally, and we'll get some updates, see if we can get this thing on the road. It'd be really cool. I know Dad will enjoy it, but and it'll be fun to play with. Hopefully it doesn't end up being worth so much that we don't want to drive it. I don't think it probably is. It's worth a little bit of money, not a lot, but it is ultra rare. If we mess any parts up or anything, we'll probably have to make them. I think most of the suspension, drivetrain, that kind of stuff is all Ford, so it's not like the parts won't be available, but it may be a little tough to figure out what Ford they belonged on. We don't really have a whole lot of information as far as that goes. So stay tuned, like and subscribe, and we'll see if we can get more of this car to you.